He's a moderate, consensus builder and spent years honing his political skills. Now he wants to save his country from an approaching disaster. Welcome to this special Inside Iraq. I'm Jasim al-Azzawi. Iraq must be free of the occupation, our guest demands. But we need the American troops to stay for a little longer until the Iraqi army is strong enough to protect the motherland. We need a coalition of moderates and nationalists, he claims, to drive the sectarians and militants out of Iraqi society. He tells Iraqis our journey is long, arduous, but the destination is sweet and rewarding. Our guest for today is Iraqi Vice President Tariq al-Hashimi. Dr. al-Hashimi, today is the 4th anniversary of the occupation of Iraq, the iconic collapse of Saddam's statue. And 4 years after, all the promises and the expectations did not materialize. Democracy, prosperity, and peace. Today, chaos, mutilated bodies, and death squad run supreme. What does today represent to you?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The 9th of April represent or mark a turning point in my country modern history. I do believe that we are still up till now into a hardship, a difficult, a hectic, a highly costly transitional period. The shape of my country, the new Iraq, has not been laid down and yet to be seen.
You're not out of the woods yet. Is that what you're telling? Is the long, arduous road is still ahead of you?
That's right. In fact, we still have, in fact, as I said, we do have hardly difficult days, difficult circumstances, and there is a light in the corridor, in the horizon. But I think we still need, in fact, to pass hardship circumstances and days.
And yet, looking at Iraq today, there is a dichotomy in that picture. On one end, 12 million Iraqis went to the poll, they voted. Iraqi politicians, they say we are a democracy, we have parliament and we have elected government. On the other hand, you have militias, even institutionalized militias, component of the Iraqi cabinet. You know, they have their own militias and they have their own prisons and they have their own death squads. How does the two tally? I mean, you are looking at it. Does it give you concern that this long, arduous road might be very, very long?
Well, believe it or not, in fact, regardless of the hardship picture of my country, in fact, and the difficult circumstances that I'm expecting, regardless of that, I do believe that the situation is still under control. If there is a goodwill, if there is a strong determination, I think the Iraqis could overcome the current problem.
Let us look at one of those mechanisms for overcoming the current Iraqi problems. Last month, the Iraq's neighbors, they met in Baghdad. They have a plan for stabilizing Iraq. On May 3rd and 4th, most probably in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, there will be the second meeting to flesh out the mechanism. Will these regional conferences and including the regional countries will help Iraq?
Well, definitely. In fact, this is one of the dimensions that we have to pursue. But at the end of the day, I do believe, being at the heart of my country politics since some time ago, I do believe that at the end of the day, who's going to decide the pending issues are the Iraqis. As you're fully aware, Mr. Jasim, that we still have so far key issues which we consider still pending. And these issues related to Iraqi national common interest. I'm not expecting anybody else on the earth to kidnap my right in deciding my own issues and to lay down some sort of benchmarks for my prospect. I do believe that all these issues that you have mentioned is related to the Iraqis, to the political elites, and at the end of the day, I do believe that the Iraqis who's going to decide on their pending issues, and the regional dimension, the international dimension, conferences, only needed to help Iraqis, in fact, to bridge the gap, the trust between them, to stop and deter the foreign interference in their internal issues, to render their economic, technological expertise to assist Iraqis in rebuilding their country.
You are referring to the national reconciliation. I remember you very well. You were among the first, even back in 2004, when you started to say that national reconciliation is the key for the prospect of free democratic Iraq. And yet, if you and I, we are frank with ourselves, that national reconciliation is not there yet. You know, the images from Diwaniyah yesterday and the day before, the constant fighting between Jaish al-Mahdi and Badr Brigade are constant reminders that we and you are a long way off. Isn't that true?
Yes, I agree with you, in fact, and I do believe that regardless of how valuable this national accord, referring to the reconciliation project, regardless of that, in fact, we're still very much in need of drastic and radical modification to the chart itself, and to have a clear-cut mechanism geared into a specific and agreed-upon timetable. These benchmarks, these basic requirements to make any project successful is missing time being. So what we actually in need of is to make very quickly a certain amendment to the accord to accommodate all Iraqis, including those who opted to fight in fighting the occupation, the foreign forces. They should be welcomed.
Let me stay with the armed militias. The Iraqi parliament passed a law almost more than a year ago asking, you know, for demobilization and disarming all these militias. In your opinion, what prevents the government from carrying out that law? Is it the weakness or is it the strength of the militias?
No, this subject, in fact, is just a direct consequences to political alliance. You are fully aware that the Prime Minister is belong to Al-Da'wa party, Al-Da'wa party alliance to Sadrist. The Sadrist has this Jam, Jaish al-Mahdi. So it's more or less, these subjects is more or less related to each other. The problem is the political alliance is not anything else.
What does that mean? I mean, let me just stop you here for just a second. Are you telling that the Prime Minister, because of his position right now, somehow he's turning a blind eye to the presence, arming, and the conduct of Jam?
Not at this particular moment, in fact, but this is the exact situation. It's quite unfortunate, which has been done over the past two Baghdad security plans. But at this plan, I think the Prime Minister is more or less very serious in quelling the militia wherever might be.
You are absolutely right. I mean, recently, by that, on the last 2-3 months, perhaps in coincidence and at the same time frame as the implementation of Surge, we are beginning to see the Iraqi army with the coalition forces conducting operations in places where up to about 3-4 months ago, we never dreamed of, we never seen. Is this the shape of things to come, that this battle to disarm the militias will be going up and down the country?
Well, there is, I can't hide, I can't turn my eyes blind to the significant improvement in Baghdad, in certain neighborhood which has been predominated by militias, which is now becoming free, and militia is more or less being disappeared. But I am really scared about the future. I don't know whether this, the militia stance is only temporary. It's only just reflect a secret agenda They are hiding to a heaven nearby, countries nearby or provinces nearby Baghdad. I don't know. But unfortunately, we do receive, in fact, alarming and discouraging reports that these militias might be mobilized in the future to continue what they have done, as I describe it, a sectarian cleansing in Baghdad. I'm sure that the government will not allow even the Iraqi National Armed Forces, especially the army, they are not going to allow any sort of mass violence, which has been the situation over the past months, to be happen or repeated again in the future.
Dr. Tariq al-Hashimi, we will take a short break now, but when we come back, I'm going to ask him how he feels about including the resistance in talks to stabilize Iraq. Stay with us.